it's interesting because we've had a chance to talk with a lot of press people in the past 4 or 5 years that the company started, but some faces I do recognize, but for the most part, everybody's kind of new to me, so I guess it's just a different group and a different avenue altogether. My partner in crime, Rose, asked me to come up and kind of, I guess, share with some of you, I guess, the story of pretty much a video that Conte and how it started, and then I'll pass it over to Rose to talk about the actual One Direction chocolates itself. We started about, 5 or so years ago, and it was really, how it came about was really by chance. I was on a pilgrimage in Italy at the Basilica of San Antonio de Padua, and I was with my wife, and we were in the Basilica, and then it was actually a gentleman starts walking towards me, and it was very, very evident to us that it was a Filipina that was holding his hands, and he was married to a Filipina, and when he saw me from afar, he was telling his wife, hey, and his wife's name is Felinda, hey, you know what, take a look over there, that looks like another Italian married to another Filipina. Why don't we go and say hello? But he's an Italian, I'm Filipino Spaniel, but it was interesting because my wife is a Cebuana and so is his wife. And this gentleman's name is Enrico Catapan, and he is actually the 3rd generation chocolatier for a company called Conte in Italy. And when we had this chance meeting, for about 2 days, they kind of took us on this whirlwind romance. It was almost like a instant friendship. It's almost like an attraction. And they took us for a tour of their factory. 81 years old. It started with his grandfather many, many years ago. And after about 2 days, we had to come back to Manila. Our trip was over. So what he did is that, listen, hey, why don't you just put a balikbayan box together, and then let me fill up one of your suitcases with all of the chocolates that we're currently producing. We're not going to say no to that. So we took that, made the balikbayan box, came home, and we had a whole suitcase full of chocolate. So I was telling my wife, what are we going to do? I said, why don't we put some dinners together with some of our friends, for about 1 or 2 weeks, and just pass the chocolates around. And in one of those dinners, one of my very, very good friends came up to me and says, hey Vincent, I did a little bit of research, and nobody's ever brought in Italian chocolates before. And so I said, okay, that's interesting. He says, why don't you consider thinking about maybe taking a look at it, perhaps bringing it in as a different option? And really, that's kind of how it started. Did my own research, called Italy, or called basically Enrico, and I said, hey Enrico, do you mind if I fly over? But before that, I said, hey, would you consider, shipping the chocolate, allowing me to, start my own business, etc., etc. And that's really how it started. So when we went back to Italy, he said, listen, Vince, I don't want to be a part of this. I just want to make the chocolates for you. You create the company, you create the brand, and you tell me what flavors you want, and I'll make it for you. And it was really exciting because a lot of times, if you go and if you get a franchise or whatever, you're kind of stuck with what the offerings are. So it was really scary starting your own company, calling it your own. But what was nice about it is that we said, if we're going to put this together, the products that we're going to put out, let's make sure, let's gear it and put it towards the direction of the Filipino palate. So there was a lot of going around, studying, when we originally started, there were 277 different flavor combinations that we played around with, and it was interesting because even though I'm Filipino, my wife's Filipina, my tastes might be different. So we really had to play it out very carefully. Say, okay, what are they looking for? Are people really more towards dark now? Do we want it overly sweet? People were, they had nuts everywhere, almonds, walnuts, everything. So it was a very interesting process until when we started with, it must have been, I think 17 SKUs. We decided we don't want to overwhelm anybody. Di ba minsan kung pumupunta tayo sa mga start bibili tayo ng tsokolate, it's about 75 SKUs. I said, I didn't want that. That's overwhelming. Let's get something, and what I said, I don't want people to choose. Let's do it. Let's make everything bright colors. So pag bibili ng tao, put all the flavors there. And then let them decide, oy, ito pala yung gusto ko. And I said, so when they come back, and if you're a fan of Video Del Conte, said, okay, ito na ang gusto ko. Let's build the box the way I want it, or the customer wants it, at no additional price. And that's really what we've done, we've continued to do. I said, every flavor that we introduce, we want it to be a complete surprise. And again, whatever you want, you build it to your specifications. we've been very, very fortunate. We're very thankful to the Shangri-La Group, Century City, Ayala Resorts World. These are our partners. In particular, shout out to Shangri-La, because it was interesting. When we came in, I didn't realize how hard it was to actually find the mall, find a partner that's willing to actually take you on. Because remember, it's not a franchise. They don't know who you are. You give them samples, but you can't even give them the samples that you're actually going to sell in the Philippines. It's only what was currently being produced. So it started there, and they even told me, they said, hey Vince, don't worry about it, because once you open, they like what you're selling, people are going to start calling. And that's really how it started. So 6 stores after 4.5 years. Things are going very, very well. One of the things that we specialize in, which is different from everybody else, and I guess we're able to do this because we're not a franchise. We don't have to ask permission from corporate. We can customize, we can tie up with anybody, whether it's weddings, whether it's corporate giveaways, tie-ups with marketing for the malls or whatever. So that's a huge advantage for us. You get your name out there, but it's nice to be able to tie up, because a lot of times people are wondering, hey, what are we going to offer? What are we going to give this time? And we try to make it easier for people, and the big key is really customization. If Nokia calls me, if BMW has a new car that they're rolling out or whatever, it's my chocolates, but it's not about me. It's the branding of your company. And that's what really worked for us. So yes, we're in the stores, but it's nice to know that we can really enter into anything, because we're the ones who say yes. And that's really our motto. We really never said no. And we're very happy with that approach. And we've had some pretty good loyal fans. So that's kind of just a quick overview